Hey creators, welcome back to a brand new video. For those of you that are new here, welcome. This is Creator Best Life and I'm Kimani, and today we are talking about 6 ways to make your writing goals more attainable. For reference, and for some of you that have not watched some of my previous videos, I'm a screenwriter, I'm a filmmaker, I'm an indie producer, and I used to write a lot in different mediums. I used to have a blog. I have another blog which is totally different on my website doing Nicely Productions. It's called The Creator Files. I will link it below. I also used to write short stories, poetry, and even songs, and I also play the piano. For me, writing has always been a way to express myself, get my feelings out, figure out what my feelings are, but also it's a way for you to generate empathy, understand the psychology of people's brains and why they do the things that they do or say the things that they say, all of the motivations behind all of their decision making. It's also a way for the voiceless to have a voice, and sometimes it's a way for when I feel like I can't use my voice, I can express myself and have a voice in my writing. And it's a great way just to create connection between you and somebody else so you don't feel as alone. Everyone feels seen and heard. Another great part, obviously, because I create for film, is to be able to see your words, your storytelling come to life, not only on the page, but come to life on the screen. So as you can probably deduce, writing has always been something that I have kind of gravitated to the most, and that's probably because so many members of my family also wrote a lot. They were poetry writers, there were speech writers, there were short story writers and actors and the like, and so it was just a lot of people in my life, and probably just genetically, but just honing that creativity for me, which is another reason why I kind of leaned more into the writing. But I'm gonna be real, I did not find writing outlines, staying on task, staying on topic to be fun or easy. The whole structure of writing made it not as fun for me because I felt like I wasn't able to tell the story that I wanted to tell, and honestly, that's kind of a detriment to your story. It felt super tedious, it felt like it was useless, and that's my youth talking, of course, but I have grown to create a writing routine for myself that is, it not only works, but it's sustainable. And now I have developed a beautiful relationship with mapping out my stories and outlining, and it just makes it so much easier, more cohesive. It's a lot more efficient, and your story's better. The plot is better. Everything's better. So in this video, I have for you some tips that I have picked up along the way and cultivated for myself in my own routine for the person that is similar to me and does not like outlining or creating that structure in their writing routine. But it'll make it a lot more efficient, and it'll probably be a lot more fun for you once you see the end product. So if you're interested in these tips, keep watching. Okay, we're coming in hot already. So our first tip is creating SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, they were typically used in technical fields, but you can translate them to be usable in every single field, every single kind of goal. So SMART is actually an acronym, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And to further help you understand the difference between regular goals and SMART goals, I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say I am writing a novel, and I will set this goal of saying, I just want to write more. There is nothing specific, there's nothing measurable, there is no timestamp on it. You have no idea how you're going to get to this goal because you have no parameters within it. So that's why it's just a regular goal versus a SMART goal. So I'm going to use this example to create SMART goals for you. So if you're initially saying you want to write more, you have to start out with being specific. So obviously you want to write more. You could say, I want to write for 30 minutes a day. And to be even more specific, you can say, I want to write for 30 minutes a day by waking up every weekday at 7 a.m. to write. So to categorize it as a SMART goal, you want to be specific. You said 30 minutes to write a day, and you also said 7 a.m. For measurable, you've already set time aside for your writing. So you have a chunk of 30 minutes as your window, and you also said that you will be waking up probably 30 minutes-ish before you even have to write. So probably 6:30 so that you have your 7 a.m. writing session in, and you'll be done by 7:30. Achievable, you already created your manageable duration of writing. So that's the 30 minutes. Relevant, it just means that this is relevant to whatever goal you have set. So since you said you wanted to write more, this is very specific to making sure that you write more in your everyday life. And time bound, you specified that you want it to be every weekday. for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. So this is a good way to go about creating SMART goals for your specific goal set that you want to have or achieve. Okay, tip number 2 is breaking your goals into smaller tasks. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but probably if you're watching this video, you have experienced where you had a goal, but you had nowhere to start. You were so overwhelmed that you probably procrastinated a lot, and because you didn't know where to start, you just didn't start at all, hence the procrastination. And then whatever your due date was for that task, whether it was, a self motivated due date or an actual due date, like an application for a program that you really wanted to get into, that means that that due date is long gone. You haven't made it, which means you did not reach your goal. And then by not reaching your goal, now you're disappointed. You could possibly be depressed, and you are not further along in your character development for your own self, but you're also not further along in your goal set, your career, your weight loss, whatever it might be. So we want to alleviate that. We're going to do that by breaking it into smaller chunks so that we're not overwhelmed and we're not giving up on our goals and procrastinating just because we feel like it's too much. So using myself as an example, if I said that I wanted to write a feature-length movie, 90 pages, 90 minutes roughly, I'm going to go with that number just because it's nice and clean, and I want to finish this by a certain date. So let's just say I wanted to do 1 page a day. That would mean that I would have to do a page for 90 days. That's a 3-month span, roughly. And so I have to pick the start date and I have to pick the end date. So if I want my end date to be July 1st, which is the start of the 3rd quarter of the year, I personally like to make my goals, my writing goals, to be nice and clean for each quarter. I like to have a script done each quarter. That's my personal goal. You don't have to do it. It can be lofty, it could be easy. It just depends on the project. But since it's a feature, giving yourself that 1 day, 1 page a day is kind of nice, considering that, you can get through it at a decent pace. Sometimes you might do more, sometimes you might do less. But of course, I've digressed a little bit, which is why having an outline is important. So down here, have the outline. So going back to my example, writing the feature, 1 page a day, I want to end on July 1st, I want to have the script done, first draft done, which means that I would have to start this script on April 1st to give me a full 30 days. Give or take, because, you might write a little more, you might write a little less. So as long as you have those specific dates in mind, then you can achieve this said goal. So having it as 1 page a day is achievable, because then I could be like, maybe I could crank this out in an hour. But the key is I also will have had to work on that outline and fine-tuned it in the 1st quarter of the year. Did I do that? That's important too. So make sure that you're working on your outlines ahead of time, so that by the time you set your time aside to do your small chunks of finishing 1 page a day or 5 pages a day or whatever it might be, then you are ready. And when you're breaking your goals into smaller chunks, I would highly, highly suggest creating checklists for yourself, so that you are making sure that you're keeping up with the goals and making sure that you are hitting all the goals, all the measurements, and you're tracking it. And you can do this checklist is in a notebook. You can put it in your phone notes. You can put it in your calendar. You can even use, project management apps like Asana, Notion. I've never been really good at using the project managing apps, just because I forget to check them. I just get overwhelmed with having all these extra programs to access, and then you just forget. And for me, if I put pen to paper, I will remember. I will make sure that I go back and check in the morning or at the end of the day, whatever that might be. So if it's in my phone calendar or if it's in my physical planner, then I know that I will be checking it every day. So figure out what works the most for you and what works best and what's most efficient, and whatever your plan is, work for the way that your brain works, essentially. Tip number 3 is creating a writing schedule. So just like my previous example of 1 page a day for a 3-month span, 90 days, whatever works for you, whatever chunk of time works for you. You could say, I want to work 3 days a week. So that could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because you have more time, whatever your off days are. Or, you could be a little more ambitious, a little more regimented, and just do, 5 pages a day, 500 words a day, whatever it might be. If you're writing a script or a novel or poetry, whatever works for you. Just make sure that you are giving yourself that schedule so that you can stay on track. Consistency is key because you want to make sure that you are actually reaching your goals as opposed to just saying, oh, I'll get to it when I want to. It's not, it's not like that. If you really want to get better at something and if you really want to complete something, that's kind of the way to go. You got to create some kind of regimen for yourself. And tips that I like to do for creating a good writing schedule is also making sure that I'm in an environment that just sparks creativity. It's calming. It also sparks, being productive. So sometimes that means you got to go sit in your office, even though you hate sitting in office chairs. Make it comfortable, make it cozy, bring a little blanket. You can light a candle. I personally like to use oil diffuser, so I'll pop that on and put a little peppermint oil in it, and then another relaxing scent that smells really good with it. So lavender is also really good. I've never mixed the two, so I might try that. But something that really gets you going and really makes you feel nice and cozy. Have yourself a little warm cup of something. I prefer matcha or a regular tea, or you could have some hot cocoa or have your favorite snack, and just make sure that you are creating an environment where it just feels good to be there and you feel comfortable and cozy. That might also mean that you are playing music in the background. And in the previous video, we talked about soundtracks. I like to play the soundtracks of the genre that I am writing to. And that not only makes it fun, but it helps me stay in the theme and the tone of the project that I'm writing. And it's also just fun to have little background music just to keep you going, because sometimes you can get distracted, or you hear different sounds and you're like, well, let me go check that out, see what's going on, and you don't stay on track. So that's fun. I also like to pop on the TV and have a little ambiance music playing, a little coffee house ambiance, or I like to do a little fireplace ambiance or campfire ambiance, which is just hearing the crackles of the wood. Is just really nice, and that way you don't have all the smoke in your house, but it's a nice addition to have. Tip number 4 is track your progress, and I mentioned this a little bit in a previous tip, but to expound on that, tracking your progress is super important, because that way you can know if you need to amp up your schedule and amp up how often you actually attack these goals, or it'll let you know, hey, I'm smoking through this. Can I make updates to my schedule and see if I can, do a little bit more and finish early? Or maybe it's, dang, that wasn't my best week. I could have done better, or whatever it might be. But also don't forget to show yourself a little bit of grace, because, life happens. We all have different deadlines for different stuff. And, sometimes you just can't get to it. It is what it is. So don't forget to make sure that you rest while you're also tracking these goals. But, make sure that you're staying on task. And it's the same thing with working out. Have the cookie. Have the cookie, and then go about your business the next day you work out, and the next day with your nutrition. There's balance. So for me, when I'm tracking my process, it could either be in a journal, it could be, posting on social media, it could be looking at, how many pages you actually have done, and then comparing that to the time that has been passed, and figure out if you're on track that way. You can mark it on your calendar, put it in your phone, whatever makes sense for you. I mentioned Notion, all the Google apps, the Google Suite apps, Asana. It's plenty of other, project management apps that you can use to help you stay on track. Another good point about tracking your progress is that you will continue to keep that motivation if you're giving your brain little, bits of dopamine that, yes, I'm staying on track, I'm doing the thing, this is good for me, and I'm going to continue with this act of discipline. And what's crazy is that discipline will also transfer over into other aspects of your life, which is really great. Honestly, truly, there is nothing better than setting a goal, having all your steps, and actually staying on track, and then seeing that you have accomplished that goal. And by the time you're done, for me, for example, I have a finished script. I have a story to be told, a story that's going to be on the screen one day, because we're manifesting. But you have your finished project, and you should feel very proud of that. And are there going to be mistakes in it? Are there going to be plot holes in it? Probably. It is what it is. That's just the whole process of writing. But then you could let somebody else read it. You could read it yourself and go through it, fine tune it. But the beauty of just having that first draft done is unmatched. Plus, tracking your progress just makes sure that you're disciplined, and when you're constantly flexing that muscle, you will continue to become more and more creative because you're being creative every day, and that way more ideas will be, funneling out of you on a constant basis. Tip number 5 is staying accountable. So in order to stay accountable, you kind of have to involve other people. I know that these are personal goals, but you don't always have to move in silence. Personally, I like to share my writing goals with my husband, my mom, people that I interact with on a daily basis. Like, hey, I'm going to be totally unavailable and locked in at this time every day. Or, hey, I'm about to go in the room and be like, yeah, I need silence. Like, please don't be screaming. Please don't laugh. Whatever. I need to get these pages out. You're distracting me. Whatever it might be. You could also, do like what I like to do when I do my writing challenges is post on social media every day. So if I have a goal of, 5 pages a day and I am doing a 30-day challenge of getting the script done after I have my outline done, then every day I will take my phone out, post on Instagram, TikTok, like, hey, just finished my 5 pages today. And it's really satisfying and it's a lot of fun, and people kind of join that bandwagon of, okay, I'm trying to write, I'm trying to get my novel done, or I'm trying to get my homework, whatever, my essay, my school project done, or whatever it might be, other scripts. And it's fun because you build that community, not only because these people are rooting for you, but you also have people that, you can lean on, and vice versa, for just making sure that you guys accomplish these goals together, and everyone just gets better together. And it's not going to be the same rate, but you just have like-minded people that are rooting for you. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of like going to a coffee shop and getting your work done and everyone's got their laptops out. It's just a nice environment. Or the library, when you're in college at the library, everyone's headphones in, locked in, doing their respective projects. But it's nice to have people around you that are at work as well. So if you don't have anyone in your life that is also a writer, or someone that, wants to keep up with you and hold you accountable, one thing that you could also do is search on social media. There are tons of Facebook groups, tons of groups on Instagram. You could probably find some people on Reddit, which is cool. And you can also just post yourself to your followers, to the ether, basically, like, hey, I'm looking for a writing partner. Somebody might see it if you're already in an environment where people are writing and you don't necessarily have that writing partner or writing group. And sometimes if you don't have that and you're seeking it, sometimes you might have to be the one who has to branch out and do the thing, create it. And there is beauty in that as well. So you can cultivate your own little community of writers, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Like, it's nice to have people that you can bounce ideas off of and make sure that you guys are staying on track and just bettering yourselves together. Tip number 6, celebrate your achievements. Recognizing your milestones, whether they're big or small, is so freaking important. It's great for morale. It's great for keeping you motivated, keeping you interested, keeping you disciplined, and it's also just nice to sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I have to say that celebrating yourself is not self-indulgent. We're supposed to celebrate ourselves, not in a cocky way, but in a, yes, I did that. I set my mind to do that and I achieved that goal. I am who I think I am. So in doing that, you can always, get yourself a little treat, pick up a bag that you've been eyeing for a while, if you have the money. Don't go breaking the bank. You could, take yourself out to eat, whatever it might be. Just give yourself something nice that you would thoroughly enjoy. Here are some ideas to help you, come up with your own ideas to actually celebrate yourself and your achievements. You can bake yourself a sweet treat. So if you're going to do a batch of chocolate chip cookies, for example, that way you can have a cookie a day after you have accomplished whatever that goal is. So if your goal is 1 page a day, you did that 1 page, have your cookie after dinner or before. Like, as long as the veggies and the cookies all go down in that day, I am no one's judge about what time of day you have your dessert, because I'm going to do dessert first. You could take a long bath, make sure that you have all your smell goods, all the scents, and, lotions and creams and oils to luxuriate once you get out, and just make sure that you're fully enjoying yourself. Have your candles, your ambiance, your music. You could play a little Switch. You could do some puzzles. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing in the bath, you really could just zen out and take a nap. to be honest, but that's totally your prerogative. But just make sure that you're relaxed, okay? You can also at the end of every night, watch your favorite show, or at the end of your accomplishment, maybe you haven't been watching TV for the 30 days or the 90 days or whatever. Maybe you've really been locked in reading and whatever, and you've been waiting to, binge Severance season 2 or The Residence or Paradise or whatever's out, and now's your chance, now that you have finished your draft, because you can relax, indulge, and give your brain a break, so that when you finally get back to doing your rewrites, you are fresh, rejuvenated, relaxed. I also think it's fun to engage with family and friends after you have accomplished said goal, because oftentimes as a writer you'll find that it can be quiet, isolating, because you need that to create, but you also need to interact with people and go live life in order to have more stories to tell. So it's also important to, when you come up for air, go celebrate, go out to eat with your family and friends, go have a picnic, plan something fun. I like to do all types of things, murder mysteries, whatever it might be. Whatever you enjoy, go do that. Another fun thing that you could do, if you have the money for it, is if your story is based on a specific place, and it might not be the place that you're living in, it would be really cool to plan a trip and go visit the place that your story is based on, and you could just see the scenes and visualize, and maybe that could tweak your next draft of your project. And I just think that was so fun, just to immerse yourself in the place, so that you can really be in your story. And it's fun memories. Make sure you vlog it. Make sure you take different pictures of it, which is cute. It'll be great for a little mood board and lookbook, whatever you're making. So I would highly suggest doing that. Like, I really want to do that, even though most of my stories are based in Chicago, so it's really nowhere to go. But one day, we're going to be bigger, all right?
Think big, bitch!
And this isn't just for people who have fully accomplished that goal. If you, did not hit the full goal, you didn't make it to all 90 pages by the end of your 90 days, that's okay. Trying and failing is still a success, because you tried. You cannot be successful if you never start. So, and, like I said, life happens. So just keep going. Just keep writing. And if you write on schedule, you can just continue to make your pages, make your story, and create your characters in these worlds that are going to be so beneficial for other people when they consume it. Make sure you give your kudos, your brownie points, whatever it is, to yourself, so that you know that, hey, I'm on the right track, I'm doing the right thing, and I am definitely well on my way to accomplishing this goal. So to recap, we have 6 tips that I gave you, with a lot of other information in between, because, hey, this is life. We get off topic. Our 6 goals are creating SMART goals, breaking our goals into smaller tasks, creating a writing schedule, tracking your progress, holding yourself accountable, and treating yourself. Making sure you celebrate yourself and your achievements. I truly, truly, truly encourage you guys to try at least to utilize some of these tips, not only because it's going to be good for you, but from personal experience. This is a way that I have created a healthy relationship with my work. And I hope that all of the tips, whether you use all of them or not, are going to be helpful for you in bringing your ideas to the page or to the screen. As usual, please let me know in the comments what some of your writing goals are. I will be starting a writing challenge at the top of... Dang, is it here already? I think I'm supposed to... No, I started in May. That's when my writing challenge will be. So keep a lookout for that. I'll be sharing it on here and on my social, so look out for that for sure. I'll be talking about that a little bit more as we lead up to the month of May. And also in the comments, let me know below if you use any of these tips, how you use them, or if you have any other ones that work well for you in creating attainable ways to get your writing done. Like I've said before, I am no expert. I just like to pick things up here and there along the way. So if you are looking for more writing tips that I have picked up and learned and cultivated on my own, and learn from other people, and you're like me and you want to make things just more efficient and more fun, that's what this is all about. I encourage you guys to join the Creator fam. It's a good time. So please like it, share it with a friend, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so that you can have a good time here, enjoy all the creative things that we like to enjoy around here. I have a lot more fun videos cooking up for you guys, some tips. We're gonna have some fun seasonal stuff coming up because we are entering spring. Well, it's now spring, but we are entering spring weather, which I'm super excited about. I can't wait to share with you guys. I'm also going to be talking about characters and dialogue and more storytelling and world building as the weeks, months go on, as well as some other art endeavors like some of my home decor and just fixing up things in the house, which is going to be a lot. Our garden, which was a fail last year, but I'll keep you guys updated this year. All things creative, you know this. So I look forward to catching up with you guys then. Until next time, guys, go out and create your best life today. Bye.